Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge.
The Great Barrier Reef Card Game was a impulse purchase on Kickstarter that I saw one day, and it had fish and the coral reef and nature and things, and I thought my family would play something like that with me, so I went ahead and purchased it, and I got it. And I was pleasantly surprised. That's a pretty good game. And what's interesting with the game is each time it comes back to you, you'll play one card, and you'll play it on top. So each card is divided into four. It has like 4 fish on it, and you'll cover those up, and you're trying to get scoring cards will dictate, like you want 3 orange ones together in an L shape, or you'll want 5 in a row and 6 down, whatever. And so you're trying to get these fish in a certain row, and you can't do it all, and there may be some negative points, and there's things you can cover up to get different cards, and where you play a card is how you're going to score. It's very, very interesting. So there's a little bit going on here that's more than normal. Now, the theme of it really drew me in. I really liked the theme, the coral reef and the fish, and my children and my family were able to look at it and play it, and the wife approved of it, and I liked that quite a bit. The game itself can be a little thinky. I mean, there's a lot of decisions that are kind of going on, like, oh, I could do this and cover that up, or maybe cover this up, and just kind of get you thinking. You're later on, I should have done that. And that can be a very fun experience. Now, the cards you're going to be getting from your hand, you're not random draws. There's 4 cards up, and based on what you play is what card you can get, and that's a very interesting dynamic, rather than just have a random draw of and have to deal with what I get. I can plan out a little bit by what face-up cards are there. Kind of like Ticket to Ride, if you will. There's those face-up cards, and I can choose from them, but by what I play is going to dictate which card I can get. So I might not always play the optimal card to score points, because maybe I want that card, and the combination of the 2 cards will score me more points than just playing whatever I want and getting that other card. So a little thinky, if you will. Not a lot of AP in it. I mean, sure, somebody could bog this game down, but I don't think that's the point of it. Very light fish game about building this coral reef up and having the fish in there and scoring them in a certain way. It can get a little abstract because, why do I need 3 fish in an L shape? It doesn't make a lot of sense thematically, but that's the game itself. The pieces are cute. The cards are cute. I think they did a really good job on it. It's a very good price for the game. I didn't pay too much for it. I think that the pricing is right in line where it should be. We had a great time with this one. This is what I would tell you probably missed. You need to go check it out. The Great Coral Reef Card Game was a tremendous hit, and it's a keeper. So here's the Great Barrier Reef. It's a very small game. I mean, it fits right in the palm of my hand. Open it up. You're going to have a little box. You have a rule book, which we'll look at in a few minutes. You're going to have this great little thing that will tell you all about the animals in the game. So this is really cool. We bought this kind of as a homeschooling learning game for our children. So this is really neat that it has some facts and things that are going on. You're going to have a score pad in here that you'll be utilizing to do the score if you need this for any reason. You're going to have these little, reef tokens that will be used on the scoring things. They're nice. These are a little bit more generic. They're just little fish tokens that you have, but they are nice. You're going to have a number of these. These will be how the different fish will be used. And they have question marks on their side, so when you put them out, they're random. Then you flip them over to see which fish will score which way. So those are kind of nice. Mine did come with a promo card. This is with the Kickstarter version. And then you have a number of these little small cards. You're going to have 2 sets. You're going to have, well, I guess I should show you this first. This will just be little cheat sheets. Shows you the end of game scoring and what you do on a turn. And they're very nice. You're going to have a bunch of scoring cards. You only use a few of these a game. So you have some extras. And these coral reefs will just sit right on it perfectly. The only thing I didn't like about this was when I was sitting across from the table when the coral reef was on it, it was a little hard to read it. But you do need those trackers. Then you're going to have a bunch of these cards that will be utilized during the game. They just have the fish on them with a little grid and a number in the center tells you which card, which I'll show you in the flow of the game. They're small. It doesn't take up a whole lot of table space, to be honest. It was a little weird because when you're playing the game, you're doing this. You see how the cards are already moving a little bit. So you will be stacking them on top of each other. And when they move, it's a little bit of a problem. My wife is having some problems with it. I say, hey, just don't touch it. Just kind of throw them down there. But you see how this becomes a little difficult here? And when you start moving around. So that's the only problem I had with the game at all. Other than that, the components are really good. The fish are colorful and they look great. So the rules of the game are going to come out like this, and it's because it's such a small box. You're going to unfold it. You have a picture of the components up here. Here's a picture of kind of like what setup will look like that you're going to have. And then the setup is right here. You're going to have a number of cards per the number of players. And this is everything to play the game. This is it. This is the game right here. And then it starts to get a little bit more detailed, just kind of showing you how a couple of things work into the game. And then a big picture of the end of game scoring with examples over here, which is great. Very easy to follow. I was able to read this in about 5 minutes and be up and running. So to set the game up, you're going to take scoring cards. You'll take 5 of these, and you just randomly kind of set these out. And then what you'll do is you'll set the coral reef on the pink side of these, and that's how each one of these will score and where they will start out at. Now, they're worth different points. This one goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this one goes 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 because it's a little harder to score, so it's worth more points. Then you'll take your fish tokens and just kind of randomly set these up as they come out. So now you know that each fish will score a little bit differently on the board each time you play, and you have extra scoring cards left over, so there should be a different mix max every time you play. Then you will put these out, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you take your deck of cards and you shuffle these up, and you'll take one of these randomly here just to kind of set the game up. Now, based on number of players, you will take some of these cards out. Everybody will draw 3 cards and you're ready to go. So this will be the setup of the main board. Let me go over these scoring cards really fast. I'll go over a couple of them. You score points for every L group of 4 fish. So you want to get 4 fish into an L in one of these things. Score points for every 2 fish that are orthogonally adjacent to at least one of the same type. Score points for every group of 3, but you want them in a diagonal. So just do different stuff, and you'll have these up. And at the end of the game, as you build your board, you will score these as they go. I'm going to move these out of the way. I'll bring these up just to kind of signify how you play here, and you'll have these up. So on your turn, you're going to place one of these cards down. Okay, so the first card of the game will just be whatever card you want to place face down. It has number 4 on it. So I will take this 4th card and put it in my hand, and we will draw a new one to come out. Then the next player will go. And then what you're going to be doing on all subsequent turns is you're going to be placing this down. Now you have to cover up at least one. So this one has -2 points. Maybe I'd want to cover that one up. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to score based on these cards. So each one's going to have a fish attached to it. And I want to set these cards down in a row that I can score some of these cards. So the ones that are very easy to do, like I want to get, let's say I wanted to get the clownfish and I want them in an L formation. You're not always going to be able to do this, but that's what you're trying to do. And then after you play a card, you take the card from the row. So I played a number 2 in the center. I take the second card and another one goes out. Now, if you ever play an asterisk card, it has this little asterisk in the center, I can pick any number I want. It's only a caveat here. Now, as you're going through the deck, you'll see if this is face up at the end, it's going to be worth -2 points. This one right here will be worth 1 victory point if you don't cover it up. The shark little guy, he's worth 2 victory points at the end of the game if you don't cover him up, but he has these arrows. That means if I cover this up, so if I have this on the board and I ever cover up that shark, then what I can do with 2 of these is I can move one up to be worth more points, and I could take another one of these scoring ones and move it back to the left and make it worth less points. So I can kind of dictate how these move up. So if I'm getting a lot of these, I'm going to want to move this up to be worth more points. And you'll do that by covering up the shark ones on this. You have to cover it up, not just play it. You have to cover it up. And as you're going through, you'll see other ones. There's a whole bunch of sharks in here. And you'll come across this orange sponge here. This is worth 1 victory point if it's uncovered, but if you cover it up, you can move one of the scoring tokens up a space, and then it's worth more points as the game goes on. So if you're getting a lot of these, you want to push this up as far as possible. And that's the main component of the game. When the deck runs out, however many you're supposed to have for the player count you're playing, the game will end. Everybody will play one more card down. So at the end of the game, you have 2 cards in your hand. You just discard those cards, and you score up your points. As you can see here, you're going to have a little scoring sheet. You're going to score each of these that you have, and then these things will give you positive points if they're not covered up, and this guy will give you negative. Whoever scores the most victory points is your winner. So it's definitely a spatial game where you want to cover these up in such a way to score on these cards as much as possible. Who should buy this game? I mean, literally, I think almost anybody could play this game. This is... You know, I always step back, mass market games are really simple, but I think most people could be taught this game. It's got the fish theme on it, so a lot of people are going to like that. The Great Coral Reef, people have interest in that. I think that's going to play really well. Doesn't overstay its welcome. You can play it casually. You can be really AP driven and try to maximize every point. I think it can be played both ways. I think it's a little bit better as a casual game. Let's just do this and try to get these points and see what happens versus trying to, nickel and dime every point out of it that you can. I think that might drag it out a little bit. But, that's what you enjoy. That's what you enjoy. Nothing wrong with that. As for me, this has been an absolute great surprise. Very small package. I can put this in my pocket. Very good price. Very happy with that. And it's been a winner for us. And I think that could be one for you. Absolutely recommend. Keeper for us.